All right, y'all, I'm so excited because I get to sit down with my very good friend, author, speaker, entrepreneur, all the things, Pat Flynn. Pat, thanks for being here.
Christy, thank you so much. I'm so excited for this conversation.
I am such a fan of yours. I'm so grateful for your friendship. We have known each other for a while. You've spoken at our business boutique events. I've read your books, and I'm just amazed at how much you know in so many different things. So for anybody that's watching right now or listening and they're like, who is Pat Flynn? Give us an overview of what you do, who you love to help through your businesses, and what you're working on.
You know, I'm often told that I'm the jack of all trades, right?
Yes.
Like I do all the things. But the jack of all trades, master of none. No, I'm Pat of all trades, master of fun is what I like to say.
I like it.
Because I always try to bring fun into everything that I do. You know, I try to combine things that I'm interested in with where people might need help. And when I can sort of that Venn diagram in the middle, like that's where magic really happens. And I've done a lot of things, right? I was laid off in 2008, thankfully. Wasn't thankful at the time, but very thankful now because it's allowed me to do all these crazy things that are so fun to be able to help people and spend more time with my family as well, which is the most important thing. So let me list off a few things for you if you don't mind. Number one, I started out a business helping people pass an architectural exam. This was in 2008, and this is the industry I was laid off from. Found a nice little niche within that space, and I helped people out, and that took off. That did extremely well. And then a lot of people asked me, well, how did you do that? How did you survive the Great Recession of 2008? I said, okay, well, like I did on this website, I'm just going to show up and serve and see what I can do to help people with that. So I started smartpassiveincome.com, which is where most people know me from. I started talking about my architecture business as a case study and just it really helped a lot of people. And they said, okay, well, what else can you show me? And I said, okay, well, I got to do things first. I don't want to be that person online who's just like regurgitating stuff that other people have said. I need to be the guinea pig. I need to try new things. So I started an iPhone app company in 2009 and I shared that process. And that ended up making over $1 million. And the app store eventually became very saturated and I moved on from that. I started a couple niche websites in different spaces, one of them being in one that I had no experience in. It was actually a security guard training website because I found that there was a big hole in that space. Everybody was looking up how to do that. Nobody knew how, so I just became the expert curator. And that's a big thing too. You don't have to be the expert on the topic, but you can be the most passionate about helping those people who are interested in learning about that topic. So that's what I did. And within a few months, I became #1 on Google for certain search terms. And that website had been up for 10 plus years now, making passive income every single month. And I recently sold it last year. Like I sold that business last year, which is really cool. I started another website helping people with food trucks. And then more recently, I actually created a physical product called the Switch Pod. It's a neat little tripod for vloggers that is very close to, you might be first to hear this actually, it's very close to being in Best Buy stores. Actually.
Wow,
so
cool.
It's like a small side project that, thank you, that like legit is now becoming like a real thing and really big YouTubers got behind it. And again, we just kind of shared the process all the way through. More recently, this is going to sound even more wonky, I have started a new YouTube channel in a hobby that I picked up during the pandemic, collecting Pokemon cards.
Okay.
And so
this is news to me.
This is news to a lot of people. My kids and I got really into it. And, you know, with me, I like to go deep in the research and sharing things. So I started a new YouTube channel. And in 3 months, we have about 30,000 subscribers. We've already seen millions of views. One of my videos having a couple million views and went viral. So I'm just having fun. I'm experimenting, but I'm helping people at the same time. But where most people know me from is with Smart Passive Income and the information to help businesses. I've written books, like you said, spoken on stages, including yours. I still remember that vividly. It was one of the best events ever. And I'm writing a new book, and I have 8 online courses now to help people with everything from email marketing, affiliate marketing, podcasting especially is what I've become known for, the Smart Passive Income podcast with over 65 million downloads. It's a lot of stuff, right?
It is, but what's so cool about you, Pat, is I feel like you balance these two worlds really well, and being your friend and getting to have kind of a front row seat, even through social media, of seeing you have your hand in all these different spaces. I just want to dig into several parts of your story because I think there's such great takeaways for people watching that either have a business, have a side business, small business, home-based business, online business, or just a dream of a business. And they're like, I've got this thing I want to do. What about a YouTube channel, that type of thing? So let's go back. When you were telling me all the things that you've done, I've got several questions to kick us off here. And these are things I've never asked you before. So I'm genuinely curious as your friend. One of the things that I think you seem to balance well, that I want to ask how you do it, is how do you balance having a lot of interests, which you clearly do just by that list alone, and that's not an exhaustive list. How do you balance having a lot of interests and having enough focus to make progress in any one of those things, where you're not so scattered and you're not having this entrepreneurial nature of where you abandon something before it has time to make any progress. How do you balance that of like, I got a lot going on, but I'm actually making progress and following through on those things?
Very good question, because this is a huge problem. We have squirrel syndrome. We're going here,
Right.
going here, going here.
All creatives do this. I do this. We all get
You are
excited
not
about the
alone.
new thing. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. And when things get tough in the thing we once said yes to, we often look for the next thing to say yes to before
Right.
actually giving the first thing a chance to actually succeed. So how do we do this? This is a great question. So there's a book out there called The One Thing. And I read this book. I loved it, by Jay Papasan, Gary Keller from Keller Williams Realty. And I was like, okay, I'm going to try the one thing. I was struggling because I have that nature of, well, but that thing over there looks cool too, and that thing. So
Right.
I tried to find some balance. And here's what I now implore. I have what I like to call the 20% itch rule. I spend 80% of my time focused on the things that I have already said yes to, my responsibilities, my obligations to my team and my business. But I allow myself, I give myself permission to do play for 20% of the time, that experimentation. This is actually something that has been around in business for a long time. And what this does is it allows me to, like I said, scratch that itch, but in a contained manner.
Okay.
At Google, they allow their employees 20% of their time to try new experiments and other things, and that is something that's cool. Gary Vaynerchuk, he's on every social media platform, it seems. But he spends 80% of his time on the main platforms, and he allows himself 20 to play on brand new ones so that he can learn about them and experiment. The cool thing about this is if the 20% of time for the new fun side project thing fails, that's okay, because I still have the 80% sort of picking things up. But now there's a chance for it to do something. Now, I listed off a lot of the success stories. Those were all created in the 20% of time that I've allowed myself to play. There's so many more that I could list off that were complete failures.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. No matter what, I either get the result I wanted or the lesson that I needed. And that helps me across all the things that I do. And that's really fun, because the SwitchPod, which is the physical product, I've learned so much about selling on Shopify and selling on Amazon, stuff that I didn't know, but that I can now pass forward into people who find me on Smart Passive Income. The Pokemon stuff, yeah, it seems different, but it's on YouTube, and I'm utilizing audiences, and I'm building super fans there, which is what I talk about on my other website too. So there is some crossover, but it allows me to play, have fun, but also still have the ability and focus to do what I need to do.
I love that. You had such a great line there. I either got the result I wanted or the lesson I needed. And that is just so wise. I know that that's a great way to look at our mistakes or things that didn't go how we thought they were going to go, which always happens in business, and go, oh, I got a lesson there. Cool. I'm going to apply it. Okay, I've got another question. And again, this is one I haven't ever asked you before, but it seems like you balance these two worlds really well. So one of the things that I've watched you do really well is you are really generous with your content. You're generous with your behind the scenes, how you do what you do. You just gave several examples of bringing people along with you on this journey. I remember seeing the concepts for the SwitchPod before anything was actually physically created. And you're inviting people on this journey with you. And one of the things that I've seen in the business world, I'm sure you've seen it too, Pat, is there seems to be two extremes. So on one extreme, you have this woman that has an Etsy shop, and she feels so guilty for charging and feels so guilty for pricing, and she gives everything away because she just feels bad and she can't make any money because she's just so generous and feels so bad. The other extreme, you have these people that are so exclusive, so almost scarcity mindset of I've got to withhold all this. You can't even get a blog unless you pay for it. No, I can't answer that question because I charge for that. And it's this other end. And one of the things that I've seen you do really well is balance this world of generosity and profitability. And you do both really well. You're incredibly generous with your tribe. You're generous with what you know. And you have a successful, unapologetically profitable business to be able to scale and do more things, all those things you talked about. How do you balance that world? Because that's hard, and it seems like you do that well.
It's hard, and there's no quote-unquote formula, if you will. You just kind of have to put yourself out there and get a mixture of both gut feeling and feedback from those who you are serving. But most importantly, and this is the big thing, on the one extreme, like you said, where a person might feel like a sellout for trying to charge, or they want to give everything away for free, the thing that I learned that was really helpful was the idea that you can sell and serve at the same time, right? They're not mutually exclusive. And in fact, when you sell, you actually are helping people. And that's like a weird thing to say. It almost sounds like, well, you're just kind of mixing words to make yourself feel better. But it's true, because for the longest time, I'll tell you, I was giving literally everything away for free. And yes, there were mechanisms like affiliate marketing that were allowing me to pay my bills and such. But when I created online courses, I was very afraid to sell that information that, okay, I could have put this information for free. And guess what? I still did put it out there for free because people can literally find any information they want on the internet right now. What people are paying for is, number one, convenience. So the ability to come into a platform or somewhere where this information
packaged.
Packaged and much easier. You are doing
Organized,
a service by packaging. Even affiliate marketing, which might seem a little bit like, oh, well, I don't want to make money off of this. It's like you are doing them a service by removing all the noise, and you are the filter out there that's going to direct people and, again, save people time in the decision-making process. The other thing to know is that when you make more money, you are able to better serve even more people. More people that you could serve for free. More people who could come into your systems too. So you kind of have to rewrite that story in your head about that. Now, on the other extreme, okay, I want to hold everything in. Everything is secret, right? But at the same time, if you really want to build a community and bring people along and develop super fans, you're going to have to open up the factory doors every once in a while. And actually, this is really interesting. In the 1800s, when factories came out in the United States during the Industrial Revolution, factories were very closed off because it was very secretive. We didn't want to reveal all these secrets. But guess what? They changed the thing to allow for people to actually come into the factories. There was actually like weekends where people could take their families into the factories, and it became this tour, right? When you walk into a Krispy Kreme, what do you see? The open window and the line with the glaze, and it's just like, oh my gosh, okay. And all the kids and the adults are like on the window looking. That allows you to make a deeper connection with your brand. If you've ever gone on a brewery tour or a chocolate factory tour, you are now connected because of the moments that you've created for them with relation to that brand. It's not just about the product anymore. And sure, you might be, quote unquote, giving away secrets or whatever, but at the same time, you're also developing super fans who are going to go to at bat for you and wave your flag really high because now they feel like they're a part of your brand with you. Right? And so that's why I always let people in on the ride. And then the other thing is there's going to be, like I said, like a lot of the information that's out there, people can find. So you're going to have to work harder to create experiences on top of that content, whether that's coaching programs or in-person meetings, events and such that live on top of that to differentiate it from others who are also sharing the same info.
Yeah, you make such a great point because I think the fear that people have of putting something out there is that, well, if I put this out there, they won't buy it. And I think what I found, and I think we even in our company, Ramsey Solutions, we found, because we do this, we're a content company, is that you can put it out there and they still buy it. So for example, I have a book coming out in September on life balance, and I'm going to start sharing samples of the book on social media. I'm going to share samples of the book. I could share the whole book on social media, Pat, and people would still buy the book because they want to have the book in their hands. It's organized, it's packaged. They want to read it, highlight it, make it their own, take it with them on an airplane. And so I think that we underestimate as business people, we underestimate the value in the organization, in the packaging, even just to your point, being a trusted source for curating other content. If I'm going to be the affiliate for this because I'm the trusted source, I'm going to tell you this is a good brand, you can trust them, that type of thing. And it's just so freeing for people to know, okay, I can serve my market by being generous with my content, the behind the scenes, bringing them on this journey, and even just the story. People love story. You know, I'm fascinated with story as a speaker. But people love the behind the scenes, love being a part of the story, the evolution of your switch pod, the evolution of someone's book. And then when the book comes out, it feels like we won. This is our product together. This is our book together. I was there from the first time you sat down to start to create this. I love that reminder for people that are in those stages going, how can I balance this? Now, before we talk about your latest book, which is still a couple years old, but I want to go back to your other book, Will It Fly? This is one of my favorite books from you. It is so tactical. It is so helpful for someone going, I have this idea. I don't know if it's going to work. And again, you have this balance of you don't want to just throw something out there without any planning. And at the same time, you don't want to have paralysis analysis and get stuck and never do anything. So tell us a little bit about your book, Will It Fly, and how you help people get enough information to do something and take action on their idea to know if it's going to work, because you don't really know till you put it out there in the marketplace. So tell us a little bit about that. Then I want to go to your new book, but I wanted to hit on that one because that's, man, I love that book so much.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. And the funny thing about Will It Fly is Will It Fly, my book, literally shares everything you need to know to validate your business idea. Yet, even though that book is out there, people still wanted more from me, right?
Yes.
To your point earlier, this became our first online course, right? Because they wanted it packaged. They want more access as well. Those are things you can charge for too.
They want you walking them through it. Yeah.
Exactly. So will it fly, right? You have a bunch of business ideas. How do you know which one to move forward with? You're either never going to take any action, or you're going to just be dispersed across all these different things and not give any one thing a chance, like we were talking about earlier. So what do we do? Well, I always try to just break it down to the next step. By going through this iterative process that the book teaches, you get a green light, cool, move on to the next step. All right, people said they were interested. Let's actually check. Let's run a free training webinar to see if we can even get people to register for this. If nobody registers, well, I guess they were just talking. They didn't actually send their email. So now we know, actually, no, this is not working. So let's try something else. Or, okay, we got people to register to sign up. Cool, let's do this training. Let's see how long people actually stick around on these webinars to see if they're even continually interested in this topic. If not, okay, go to our last green light. They said they were interested. Let's try a different webinar. Or, cool, green light, let's move forward. And now let's actually pitch them on something and keep getting green light after green light after green light. But you'll see a theme in the book is conversations with your target audience, even if you're just starting out, because that's where you learn not just the problems and the pains that you're solving, but also the language that they're using too, which is really important.
Yes. You know, Absolutely. It's fascinating. I will screenshot comments on my social media about either my devotional or my book or my planner or my event, whatever. I will comment, I will screenshot comments, send it to our marketing team with the subject line, marketing language. Marketing language. Talk about it how they talk about it. If that's how they describe it, if that's how they describe how it solved their problem or changed their life or helped them, that's how we need to talk about it. And they know how they talk about it better than we know. And so I love that. I love that wisdom there. You know, it's interesting because back to kind of how we started, Pat, you've done so many things. So the will it fly, like you have made a lot of things fly. I'm curious, do you still get nervous when you do something new? Like when you're spinning up a YouTube channel on Pokemon cards, are you still a little bit of like butterflies of like, I don't know if this is gonna work? Or do you feel like, oh, I've done this so many times, you know, it's kind of plug and play?
I always get nervous, Christy. I always get nervous. And in fact, I would be more nervous if I wasn't nervous.
That's right. Yeah,
if that makes sense. I actually look toward where I get a little bit uncomfortable because that's where growth happens. If I was to remain in my comfort zone all the time, I wouldn't grow at all. And I think that's hopefully reassuring for those of you who are working on stuff that's maybe making you a little bit anxious. That's good. That typically means there's something great on the other end of it. You're going to take the care to make it great. You got to push it out there. You got to ship it. But at the same time, because you're uncomfortable, you're going to think about it in ways that are going to ensure that it's valuable for others too. So I look toward that nervousness, and I still get nervous to this day. But I also have the confidence that I could figure it out too. And that's something that has only come over time. And it's very important that, especially if you're starting out, appreciate the small wins. Celebrate those small little wins that you kind of, those small little milestones that you reach, because that's going to allow you to feel good about the progress you're making and to look forward to the next milestone after that.
I love that. And it's just, there's such a theme in what we're talking about, which is just this idea of taking action, take the next step, to actually take action on whatever that thing is. And even if you feel a little scared, even if you feel nervous, you're still moving forward and making progress anyway. And it's that progress, it's those steps that lead to the results, not just thinking about it, not just planning, not just researching, but actually doing something about it. Okay, we've got to wrap up, but I want to hear about your book, Superfans. I love this idea of how you are taking this idea of customer service and taking it to a totally different level. And you were talking about you can build a tribe and a community that's not just a paying customer. They are loyal superfans. Tell us a little bit about that book, because I think that's something that can really help people and get them excited about serving their marketplace in a different way.
Yeah, you don't need to be a celebrity or musician or, Taylor Swift to have a bunch of fans. You can have fans in whatever industry you're in. Case in point, with my architecture exam website, right? Like the driest information you can probably think about. I had a woman email me who had taken my exam prep course and then ended up passing the exam. She was very thankful. Her name was Jackie. And she was like, Pat, I'm so thankful. I ended up getting a raise because of this, et cetera, et cetera. And at the end of the email, it said, your biggest fan, Jackie. And I was like, your biggest fan? Like, that was just weird for me to see.
Yeah.
2 months later, I start to notice that I get sales after sale after sale from the same company that she worked at. And I eventually found out that she was such an ambassador for the brand that she convinced every single person in the office to also purchase my course. She could have shared it for free, in fact. But she wanted to pay me back because she was a fan, and she got everybody in the office, all 30 people, to like one person, Jackie, turned into 30 sales.
Wow.
You don't need a lot of people to become super fans to do some amazing things for your business. And what this means is it's creating experiences, right? Because people don't become a fan of you don't listen to a song for the first time. You're like, oh, I'm a huge fan of the band. You like the song. Okay. When we create content, that's like us putting out our songs and our lyrics, and hopefully they're connecting. Cool. But it goes beyond that, even beyond the sale. In fact, the sale is just the beginning of this process. So a person finds you for the first time, they get interested. You've given them some reason to come back. Okay, cool. Now they're subscribed. Now they're following you. Great. Let's still continue to connect with them. Let's use the same language. Let's give them small, quick wins here and there. Let's provide an experience that's different than anywhere else. And let's start to bring them into now a community. And what's cool about a community is people are now not just connecting with you and you connecting with them. It's them connecting with each other, because people often come for the content, but they stay for the community.
That's
when
right.
they find other weird people like them, then they're going to stick around, right? And then finally, some of those people are going to become super fans. But my favorite way to do this, you can literally do this right after this call. I reach out to people individually who are following me on Instagram. I send them a direct message with a video. I call them by name. I say, hey, Christy, Pat here. I know you're following the Instagram. I just wanted to reach out and say thank you for following. And if there's anything I can do to help you, let me know. I appreciate you. Hope you're having a great day. 10 seconds. I do this on a walk every Friday with my dog. I'm going around the block, 30 minutes. I can get 60 to 80 people, just a message. It has a 95% reply rate of people's minds being blown.
Right.
And that little 10-second note
right.
differentiates me from every single other person who's also trying to teach them the same thing, because it's not about the information. It's about the experience that you're providing. So that's one little tactical example of several that are in Superfans to gain that kind of following.
I love how you talk about experiences, because that's what sticks with people. It's not just the product or service, but the experience they had with you or with your brand or your company with that product or service. That is what's so memorable. And I love that. It's funny you said that about the they come for the community, they stay for the community. Just yesterday, I got a message on Instagram from one of my Academy members, and she was saying what her success was and the numbers that she was bringing in last year since she joined. And she said, the statement was something like, I had no idea how much I needed to be in community with other women that are doing what I'm doing. And I thought, yes. But sometimes if you've never had it, you don't know how bad you need it. And then you get in that community and you are connected with each other and you're sharing wins, successes, ideas. And that takes on a life of its own that's more powerful than me or than you. It becomes the community that is so powerful, that has that compounding effect. Pat, you are just a wealth of wisdom. Now listen, I know people are wondering, where can they get your book, Superfans? Where can they get Will It Fly? Where can they connect with everything you're doing? You are doing lots of things. They're like, where can I connect with this guy? So tell them how they can follow you on Instagram, listen to your podcast, and find out more about your books.
Sure. So I'm at Pat Flynn, basically everywhere: YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, etc. My books you can find on Amazon, again, Superfans and Will It Fly. And Smart Passive Income is the main website where all of our business education and everything else that I mentioned is linked to as well.
Awesome. Okay. Are you up for a quick rapid fire of random questions?
Do it.
Okay. This will be fun.
I'm excited.
You have such an interesting story. Okay. One weird thing about you that most people don't know.
One weird thing about me that it's funny you asked that, because I literally tell everybody everything. But
there are no secrets.
I'm a huge marching band nerd. And even today,
really?
At 38 years old, I still follow like the local scene on marching bands and the
play
competitions and stuff. I played the trumpet for about 18 years, and I was in the marching band, and still something I sort of nerd out on it every once in a while.
Now, you did triathlons, right? Do you still?
I had done triathlons. The biking portion just crushed me.
Really?
I'm not a great biker, but it was fun. I did it and was proud of it, and then I moved on.
Before I really knew you, when I read your book, Will It Fly, I was flipping through, and you do tell me so many stories, and you're like, triathlons, there was soccer, there were so many things. I was like, I love this guy. We're so the same. We would be great friends. Like, through your stories.
Trades.
That's right. I love it. Okay, first thing you do when you wake up in the morning.
First thing I do when I wake up in the morning is I go to the kids' room and I get them up and I give them a kiss on the forehead and say, hey, let's have a great day today. Every single day.
I love it. One thing you couldn't live without.
One thing I couldn't live without is definitely my wife. I got to say, I do a lot of things in business, but they definitely wouldn't be possible if it weren't for my wife. Stay-at-home mom, harder job than me, no recognition for anything. So I wanted to pop an opportunity to recognize her for that here.
I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, last one. What is one thing you're working on right now that scares you a little bit? Kind of like what we were talking about.
Yeah, one thing that's scaring me right now is we are making some big business moves. In fact, we are we have recently launched a membership program, and we're leaning into that a lot. And in fact, investing a lot in it. And that's very scary because it's totally new for us. But that's how we know it's going to work. We've seen some good validation from little tests that we've run, but that's how we know you got to reinvest in your business. If you have some stuff that you think is going to work, you got to not take a chance, but you have to put resources into the things that you know are going to help with the future of the business. And if I wasn't nervous, then like I said, I'd be more nervous.
Yeah. Pat, I just love hanging out with you. I love learning
You too,
from
Christy.
you. I'm so grateful for your friendship, and I know everyone here is so grateful to get to learn from you as well. So thank you so much for taking some time to hang out with us today.
Thank you so much.